do you know if people are not playing the system? So this is a question that I was asked on TikTok probably some time ago. And it's a question that does go through your head as a probation officer, and I thought I would address it here. So hi, if you're new here, my name is Sarah Edwards. I work as a probation officer. I now coach and tutor psychology and criminology students to help you with your essay skills, and I also coach people who want to get into the field of probation, who want to be probation officers. Check out all my links below for what I have available. So today's video was inspired by a TikTok comment. Someone said, how do you know they're not playing the system? A very valid question. So let me get into it. So obviously the people that we are working with as probation officers, you come across some people who have been in the system in a variety of different formats. Some of them may have been through the care system. Some of them may have been excluded from school, may have been in contact with the police from early on. Some of them may be new to the criminal justice system, or they may have family members that have been through it or have been in prison. So the first thing is to acknowledge actually who you are dealing with, like who is sitting before you. The second thing, the reason why there is a lot of paperwork in probation is because we are always doing assessments on people. Believe it or not, we don't just walk downstairs in the interview room, sit with them, have a chat and say bye. That's more of a mentoring role that many volunteers would do. But as a probation officer, the reason we have the paperwork is to really take a step back from, okay, yes, this is that person that's sitting in front of me, but let's look at that person's past behaviours. So some things we look at is, okay, their relationships are key. Those of you that have studied psychology or are learning a bit more about yourself, you will know that relationships that are formed early on, they impact how we relate to people today. That's not just people that have committed offences, that's everybody. Which is why childhood, and I believe that funding and everything needs to go into like children, because that's where everything starts. So if you have a person, you need to think about, okay, what was their like childhood upbringing like? What was their parents' patterns of relating and behaviour like? All parents make mistakes and go off of normally what or how we were brought up. So that is going to filter down to that person. So we look at, okay, what are their relationships? That gives you a deeper sense of, okay, if that person's what you've asked, trying to play the system, it gives you a deeper sense of, okay, well, what was that person's upbringing? How did they get their needs met as a child? This is where having an awareness and understanding of psychology really helps in this job. Doesn't mean you need a psychology degree, but you need to have that awareness about people's upbringing. Then other key things we look at is their past pattern of offending behaviour. When did that person first get in contact with the police? You know, if you've been cautioned at age 13, then you've been with the youth offending service or things like that, you've had contact with the criminal justice system, that is going to shape who you are today. Your experience of that is going to shape, who you are now. So we look at past offending. We also look at the offences. What previous offences have you had from when you were like young or leading up to now? So what someone's past tells you and gives you some kind of context to whether or not they are playing the system. It helps you see, okay, well, they might have been in the system for a long time. So it's like you are a bit of a detective, constantly gathering evidence, and you're kind of a bit like what a psychologist would do, trying to always link the past to the current. Then another area we would look at is, okay, what is their like thinking and behaviour? So what is their thought patterns? And again, you get to know this through sitting with them, being with them, to see what their thought patterns are when you are in discussion with that person, What are their thought patterns in terms of, okay, if that person done shoplifting when they were 15, what was their thought pattern behind that? And now they're sitting there with you for dangerous driving. What was their thought pattern behind that? And the kinds of offences as well. Like, there's certain offences that are like a clear like breach of trust, so theft from employer, robbery, and it doesn't even matter about the specific offence, it's why, what was their motivations for doing that offence. That's why you have to get really deep to understanding and asking the right questions and looking at the previous behaviours. So that all helps you realise, or helps you balance out whether they are playing the system or whether this is just a part of their regular thought patterns. Likewise, in our assessments, we will look at someone's attitude. So what has their attitude been to previous probation orders that they've been given, or previous prison? So does that mean that actually when they're on probation, they are previously always missing their appointments? Does it mean that they've been breached, so they've been sent back to court? Does it mean maybe when they've had a restraining order, they keep breaking that? When they've been in prison, do they keep getting in trouble? So we'll look at attitudes, because again, that will help you know whether they are playing the system or not, if they've previously just not really given much care or priority to their probation order. Other things we'll take into consideration is their emotional well-being and mental health. So is it maybe something in terms of their mental health that is maybe making it appear like they are playing the system, but actually that's a part of their thought patterns and part of their diagnosis in terms of their mental health. So I hope that gets you to see that it's not so clear cut as, yeah, this person's playing the system. It may be that person's way of coping with dealing with authority. It may be that person's way of escaping with realities of life, of overwhelming, and it may appear to you that they are playing the system, but maybe that is just how they relate to things. And yeah, these people are risk takers a little bit more than maybe the general population. They're more likely to want to cut corners a little bit and see how much they can get away with and push and pull. So yes, on our end it may seem like they're playing the system, but it's more important to understand what are their motivations, why is it that they relate to the world in this way, and can we do anything to change that? Because that's kind of what it is, it's how they relate to the world around them, and the end result is we see it as them playing the system. And this is why, as a probation officer, you don't just sit and chat with them, you take a step back, you're constantly doing your assessments, you're constantly liaising with other sources of information, other people that may work with them, other organisations. This is why you're having meetings with those organisations, because people are complex. You are dealing with complex people with complex needs and serious offences. So if you want to know more about what it's like being a probation officer, or you've got questions, leave them in the comments or go over to my TikTok. It's HowtobeaProbationOfficer, same on Instagram. And if you actually want to get into this job but you're not really sure how, and you want that support, you want that accountability, and you want to be in that group environment, that learning environment with other people and myself, check out my coaching program, How to Be a Probation Officer, and I will see you in the next video.